Hey all, Hipper here. So today we're looking at the Azure Montpelier, and it's just such a random ship, I think, because it is basically a Cleveland, except it has like slightly faster rudder and slightly worse reload. So it's kind of a weird niche ship, this one here, that, in theory should appeal to me because it has faster rudder. But I never play the Cleveland class or pretty much any American cruiser except for Wichita as an Agile cruiser. So let's just have a look at my build here, because I'm actually using the Montpelier Commander as well, with Kuznetsov here for extra range and Montpelier for extra reload. And then beyond range, Igniter, all out assault, has special skill, and fixated and refill station. So a damage focused build. I do have steering gears mod here, double steering gears on the ship, because yeah, why not? I only have 2 of everything though, which is a kind of a letdown because I'm used to having 3, especially 3 radars is very useful. But with this build here, you only get 2. So the reason I picked double rudder on the ship still instead of propulsion and concealment is that I just can't really let go of at least a relatively fast rudder, which allows me to get into close proximity of the cap without taking too much damage. And as an example here, with like lots of legendary battleships shooting at me, and I'm able to dodge their shots and that way get in close and personal so I can raid out the DDs. And so it's the same approach as using concealment, except I can fire on the way in, and I don't really care what happens because I don't have to rely on concealment. Just make sure you fit in between the incoming shells, which you need fast rudder to do. And I know I don't have the fastest rudder available on the ship here, but like I said, I'm not really playing them as a full-on Agile cruiser, these Cleveland class here, so it doesn't really matter that much. All I need to do is get in here and then have cover close enough to the cap so I can radar it at will, and that's about it. Then you just have to hope you don't get flanked by battleships. That's basically the approach here. I still think it's a weird ship, this premium tier 7 here, because most people will stick with Cleveland because it has faster reload, and really that's what you need in this type of ship. So I just play it because, well, it seems that no one else plays it really. So I'll take it out once in a while, and it allows me to do videos on Cleveland ships without actually playing the Cleveland, because I hate the Cleveland, and I mean I don't like this one much either, but at least it's not a Cleveland. So I can get away with actually playing it. And the reason I don't play these ships is exactly for what's going on here, because I tend to find myself in situations like this where I snuggle up to an island and then I just sit and wait for people to spot enemy ships for me so I can set them on fire. Yeah, not my kind of gameplay. I think it's excruciatingly boring, to be honest. And I much rather prefer to play something like Edinburgh or Hipper that actually has some torpedoes, and in Edinburgh's case also has radar, so you're just as useful, except it's harder to get good damage games because you can't just sit like this and set fires, which, let's be honest here, it doesn't take a lot of skill. It's much more challenging to take out a cruiser that only fires AP like Edinburgh and see if you can do like 100k game in that and still get your team to the win. So it's interesting. This thing here is boring. It is. I think there's no way around it. But I mean, saying it's boring doesn't mean that it's a bad ship at all. It's actually one of the best cruisers out there, along with Cleveland. I just think it's too easy to do well in them. That's my main problem with these ships here. And it's just a cheap ship, really. The fire chance is way too high. Like you said, way too many fires in this ship here. And it's too hard to citadel. And it's just it's just a tad unfair, I think. Not as unfair as Weimar or anything like that, but it's still pretty close. And I just don't have fun playing these ships that I'm not going to call them overpowered, but you know, they do have certain advantages that most other cruisers don't have. And yeah, there's just not enough challenge in this ship, or in Cleveland for that matter. As long as you know, just play with a modicum of common sense and don't storm out broadside in front of battleships, you will do plenty of damage and get plenty of kills and high calibers and Confederates and what have you in these ships here. But is it fun? No, it's not. Not for me anyway. But of course, that's a lot of fun for other people, I'm assuming. So, well, that's lucky for them. This thing here, and the same with Cleveland, they are overpenned too easily. I think they should be just as difficult to play as Minotaur, where it means that if you take a battleship round, then you are almost certainly taking a citadel. So it's, you know, high risk, high reward gameplay. This one, Montpelier and Cleveland, they're just high reward. There's not really that much risk involved, and you are able to fight off most other ships. And really, the only way you lose in these ones here if you make a mistake or your team totally folds. So it's a crutch ship, I think, and it's a nice, you know, learning ship for new players to start to play cruisers. Only for a little while though, because like these things here teach you some nasty habits that you can't get away with in other cruisers. So if you look at it that way, it's actually not a very good beginner ship. But then on the other hand, experienced players, I mean, why would you play this ship here? There's really no challenge in it, I think. So I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of Cleveland, but I have it, and I might as well do videos on it because, like I said, no one else does it. And on another note, we are coming up on, you know, that time of the year or the month or whatever you want to call it, where we actually get the patch notes soon. It's a matter of a few days, I think 2-3 days, and you should get a little bit of a peek into what we can expect in the new update. And of course I'll do, well, I think I will do a live stream as soon as the patch notes are available for everyone to see. And then we'll have a good chat about, hopefully, what I'm hoping is a very interesting update with lots of new stuff added, because honestly, the last update was pretty thin, and I think I'm not the only one who thinks that, especially with the loss of the Hot Wheels part of the package. So hopefully we can actually get something a little bit more interesting next time. Perhaps even clans, who knows? I mean, I'm just guessing here, I don't know at all, but I'm allowed to hope, right? And actually, while I was playing this game here, I completely forgot I don't have an Agile build on this cruiser here. So every time the Yamato was shooting at me, I just assumed there was a new player, because it looked like he didn't even target me. But of course he did target me. I just didn't have Ingenious to tell me that he was targeting me, and I'm so used to having that skill on every cruiser I play. So when I don't have it on my cruisers, I forget about it all the time. And obviously, if you don't play an Agile cruiser, you don't really need the Ingenious skill. The only thing that really is downside by not having it is the even slower turret traverse. So you gotta line those turrets up in advance, where you think that little pesky destroyer will show up, or that farming ready battleship will come around the corner. And once you can do that, then you don't really, you do miss Ingenious. But if you play like more the island game like I'm doing here, then it's less important to have that skill. So this video is not made to show off this ship here, because I don't understand why anyone would buy it. because it is just, well, let's be honest, the worst Cleveland really. And the extra rudder is nice, but like I said, if you don't play the ship with an agile build, then what's the point really? And I mean, I don't think I've actually played it that much with an agile build. Perhaps I should try do some agile build videos on it here, because it does have faster rudder. You might as well explore it a little bit. But I don't think it's going to be, well, I know it's not going to be a good agile cruiser, because Cleveland is one of the worst agile cruisers out there. Like, the numbers look good on paper, but in reality the ship is just not built for that kind of warfare, to put it. So you're better off just going with a traditional build on these high tier American cruisers here, same with Alaska. The British cruisers, completely different thing though. All of them pretty much excel with agile builds, and that's a good thing, of course, because agile builds are what keeps this game alive for me anyway. So we just have a lonely carrier here left in the game, and for once I've had a wonderful team, so that's like great, and it certainly cuts down on the frustrations when you actually have, you know, players on your team who know what they're doing. And like I said, after I finished this game here, I thought it was a pretty boring game, and I really didn't do much. I killed the destroyer, and then I got a few cheap kills, but that's about it. I don't think I did anything game-changing, perhaps killing the destroyer, but really, I just don't feel I put in as much good work as I do in an agile cruiser. And when you look at the XP I got out of this battle here, it's no wonder that people use this ship here to boost their average XP, because it's very, very easy to get good XP battles in it, even when you don't really have to do much to achieve that. While on the other hand, getting good XP battles in something like Edinburgh, especially a radar Edinburgh, now that's difficult, but also very rewarding when it happens. So that was the end of the battle here. So like decent damage, and yeah, 3 kills, like kind of okay, but we still got more than 3,000 XP, which I don't really think we should have had, but who knows. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you out there.